Today we're making the perfect tee pattern. I just love this pattern because it can be customized in so many different ways, but it's also so comfortable and so simple to make. Start by laying out your front, back, and both sleeve pieces on the fold of the fabric before you cut them out. For the neckband, a trick that I learned is to lay the neckband out on the bias of the fabric, which is a 45-degree angle to the selvage edge rather than straight across the grain like you typically think. This will help when the piece is all finished. This will help the neckband to lay more flat and stay closer to where it's supposed to be. Now lay out the back piece face up and put the front piece on top of it so that right sides are together. You're going to be sewing both shoulder seams together. I'm using a serger, and if you're not using a serger, just use a stretch stitch like a zigzag stitch to put the pieces together. Now we're going to attach each sleeve piece right at the shoulder. So first find the middle of each sleeve piece by folding it in half and finding that crease and matching that crease up right where the shoulder seam is. Flip the sleeve over so that right sides are touching, and you're going to be sewing starting in the middle and then sewing along the curve to attach the sleeve all the way to the armpit opening. So you're actually going to be adjusting and pulling the edge of the sleeve as you go around that curve. That's why I typically don't pin this section. Take this part slowly and just stop and adjust often to line up those two pieces together as you go around this curve. Try not to stretch either side as you're sewing. When you get done, you will have half of the sleeve attached, from the middle of the shoulder seam all the way down to one of the armpits. Now you'll need to start on the other armpit and go up to the middle so that the whole sleeve will be attached. Now that the sleeves are attached, it's time to work with the neckband. So take that piece and fold it in half so that right sides are touching. And where that short side is, you're going to sew it across and create a circle out of the neckband. Okay, now open up the neckband and fold it in half again. This time, fold it so that the wrong sides are touching each other. It will look like this. Then take a pin and place it right in the seam. We are going to quarter this neckband so that it will be easier to place on the t-shirt. Place a pin opposite of that seam. And then fold the neckband so that the two pins are touching each other. And that will give you two more ends to put pins in. Lay your shirt so that it is right side out, and then fold it in half so that you can find the very middle on the back side. Where the seam is in the neckband, pin that in the very center. You're pinning the neckband upside down so that the raw edges line up with the raw edges of the neck opening. Now find the middle of the front side of the t-shirt, and that is where you're going to pin the front middle of the neckband. Again, it's going to be upside down and all the raw edges will be lining up. To place the side pins, open up the neck opening and stretch out the neckband so that it goes all the way around the opening. Right where it touches, place the pin. The neckband is intentionally smaller than the neck opening, and that helps it to lay flat when the project is complete. But if here at this point you find that the neckband does not stretch all the way around the opening, then you will need to recut a piece a little bit longer. Try adding 1/2 of an inch to it. Some fabrics just aren't as stretchy, so they aren't quite long enough. Now it's time to add the neckband. You are going to sew around the neck opening, stretching the neckband as you go. Try not to stretch the t-shirt bodice itself, just the neckband. The pin placement will help you know how much to stretch. So you'll start at 1 pin, stretch the neckband until it meets the next pin, stop, take out your pin, and then sew to the next pin. Do that all the way around until you've finished the circle. Flip your neckband up in place and then iron it flat. Now it's time to hem the edge of the sleeves. Flip the shirt over so that the wrong side is facing up, and then fold down the edge of the sleeve by 3/4 inches. Iron it in place and then pin it before you sew it down. Use a stretch stitch for this, or a zigzag, twin needle, or a cover stitch. That's what I'm using to create this hem. Then repeat for the other sleeve. Now it's time to close up the sides of the t-shirt. So lay out the t-shirt with right sides touching, wrong sides facing up, and you're going to match up all of the edges and sew from the edge of the armpit sleeve all the way down to the base. Do this for both sides. The very last thing now is just to hem the bottom of the shirt. So flip it up 3/4 of an inch, iron it, pin it in place, and then sew a stretch stitch all the way around it until the hem is complete. Congratulations, you've just finished the perfect tee pattern, and it looks so good.